Lots of people in other cultures than our own come and look at us and think that our basic principle is get approval. Don't dare do anything which is not approved of. And always do that which will gain approval. Take a look at it. Isn't an enormous amount of your behavior limited by, dictated by the need for approval? You can't see it in yourself. Can you look outside and see it in the behavior of others? Real clear. Another basic principle which rules people's lives, outside of which they cannot behave, outside of which they cannot experience, cannot perceive, cannot think, cannot feel, cannot live. The basic principle which rules and guides, shapes, forms, and limits people's lives. They go to life inside that box. It's not what they find out there. Yes, they also find it out there. But they find it out there because they can't perceive outside the limits of the box. You and I live in a box about which we are unconscious and unaware, and which we formed with no intentionality and no purpose. Was formed in reaction or unconsciously. Not purposefully, not intentionally, not self-awaredly, not humanly, but mechanically, defensively, reactively. And that basic principle in people's lives will be consistent with you don't matter. Who you are does not make a difference. See, most people wake up in the morning because the alarm clock rings, not because it makes any difference. Most people will go to work on Monday, not because it makes any difference whether they go to work or not. But it's Monday. It's time to go to work. So we go to work. Do we work in our jobs as if our lives depended on our work? As if life itself depended on our work? Do we work in our jobs like who we are in our jobs really makes a difference? Do we really? No, not really. I want to stay with what I'm telling you only long enough to give you an opportunity to look at it for yourself, to come to grips with it for yourself, but to really look at it, to really observe it, to be with it, not think it, not just think it, but to really get with yourself for a moment. Get with your real, honest-to-God experience of life. And I'll tell you what, if you've got any exceptions to what I've just pointed to, the exceptions prove the rule because they're goddamn few and far between. I'll bet on it. Life is not about making a difference. Life is not about counting. So what I'm trying to get across is not that you don't matter, but that you and I live in a condition in which no one matters. What I'm trying to get across is not that you and I don't count, but that we live in a condition in which nobody counts. Therefore you can't count. Therefore who you are doesn't make a difference. I'm going to do a lot of talking about thinking for yourself. Because I think that what passes for thinking for yourself in this culture is not thinking for yourself. I don't think your strongly held opinions are thinking for yourself. What you mean when you say, I thought it for my... See, what we hold is dear. We think that the intellect... See, somebody who has 30 thoughts is more intelligent than someone who only has 10 thoughts. He thinks more. Oh, he's a real thinker. She's a real thinker. They do a lot of thinking. See, the more you think, the more intelligent you are. Oh, but the really intelligent, they think better. See, they take the same old bag of thoughts that we've been sifting through now for a couple of decades or more, and they put it together in a new and better way. And they think better. But of course the ultimate is to think different. Thinking different than other people is not thinking for yourself. Strongly held beliefs are not thinking for yourself. Figuring it out in that same old bag of thoughts and that same old bag of principles is not thinking for yourself. That's saying you can think in this box. See this box? We got lots of great thoughts in that box. But by God, don't you think outside that box. If you think a thought outside that box, is it going to make any sense inside the box? No. Therefore, if you think a thought outside the box, we're going to call it nonsense. But let me tell you something. The truth does not exist in that box.